Welcome to GSS score, and as you can see, the effort which we have today is about means concept mapping. Uh, Concept mapping means the attempt by all of us together to make the students understand that whenever we get any question, previous year question paper or the test series questions, then we have to locate the basic concepts, the big picture, overall concept, and link it with the syllabus. Because if we are solving only questions in the test series or PYQ without exactly going into what you can say the overall concept and the related, you can say, paraphernalia around it, it will not serve any purpose. Because until we um, relate the particular question through its concept and the syllabus, and also the possible or alternate questions that may be asked from the same concept, our total gain from the exercise of solving any question, specifically PYQ, will always be less than optimum. And so with this aim, this effort or this video will hopefully help all of us to understand that how we can actually go from a particular question to the syllabus, and of course trying to understand how to write that particular question in a better manner. And at the end we will also likely see what are the possible questions that may come. And I have taken here the Polity GS paper 2. As you know, for Polity, I mean, since I think the UPSC has started its examination mains in 1979. One thing is very clear for all the students, that one cannot afford to be weaker in the polity section, because polity makes the base of general studies and your entire approach to prepare for civil services. So conceptual clarity in polity is something which is very important. So let's come back to the mandate which we have together today. And this is like questions. Okay, so let's start. A question to concept and polity. Let's take the question from the PYQ, and we have taken one question from 2016 Mains Examination, and then we will talk about how to go from the question to concept. And going from question to concept is a more advanced way to study and revise your syllabus, because those students who are not beginners specifically, they prefer, and they should prefer, I to believe, that you should go in reverse way, right? In the sense that you take a question, understand the concept, go back to your books and notes and revise it from there. Instead of going in forward way, that reading the chapter and then solving the question, once you gain certain experience, this method, because this method is more appropriate, precise, because it helps you to remove those portions of your syllabus which are less relevant according to the frequency of the questions that may have been asked from there. So with this, let's go to the question. And the question here is very clear. Did the Government of India Act first part is Government of India Act lay down Federal Constitution, discuss 2016, right? Now let's go for the concept which is there in the question, and what is the main demand and what is there. So we know very well that India is still a federal constitution. Republicanism, federalism, division of power between center and state, all these features today are declared basic structure of Indian constitution in different judgments of the Supreme Court. So India is a federal constitution, number one. Of course, yes. How far the Government of India Act 1935 is responsible for that? Right? So if we see very clearly, I mean, if we see very clearly, then the concept which involves, here is about federalism, right? And evolution of constitution is the topic in our syllabus. And with 1935 Act in the picture, in the question, federalism has been linked with the first topic, evolution of the constitutional provisions, basically the British legacy, how the Constituent Assembly debates were done, or basically all developments in India after 1935 Act, right? So how far 1935 Act descriptively and analytically impacted the current federal provision of India. That's how. So it is about less about nature of Indian federalism. It is more about linking, the concept is more about linking the provisions of federal provisions of 1935 Act with the current federal setup of India. So what we will do is, very clearly, let's go back, go to the next thing. So what we will do in this is, number one, provisions related to federation in 1935 Act. First, we will write 4, 5, 6 points, not entire question, not entire answer. Then second thing we will do, that we will compare that with the modern federation in constitution, what exactly was given. And third point in this answer, you will have to include that analytical part, that is conclusion, that how far do you think that 1935 Act would be said to be the harbinger of the federalism in India, right? That's how the whole thing is, the answer is there. Now, if we once again go to the first part, then we know very well that 1935 Act has 3 lists, 1, 2, 3. Still we have 3 lists, 1, 2, 3. It created division of power between center and state. That's the basic definition of federalism, right? The diarchy was created at the center. That's what it is done. Princely states were given a disproportionate weightage in the federal polity. So not only the British provinces, but also the princely states were given almost 40% of the weightage in the federation, joining the federation. This was done. The basic intention of the British Parliament was to prevent Congress from acquiring a monopoly or the dominant position in making or breaking of the government alone. And with this, you can say very clearly that 1935 Act, as Nehru said, that it is an vehicle with all engines, all brakes and no engines, That's how the whole thing is. And Congress or any other party totally rejected 1935 Act. 1935 Act. So the federal provision of 1935 Act has residuary powers in the hand of the Governor General. So much so that even for the discussion of the federal issues, state issues, permission of the Viceroy was necessary, Governor General was necessary. So without the permission, even discussion was not allowed, because the tremendous power was retained in the hands of the Viceroy. So with this, we have to understand that despite, as Tej Bahadur Sapru said when Lord Lithgow and many other people before him talked about how the federation in India can work or can be implemented, Tej Bahadur Sapru, Sir Tej Bahadur Sapru was very clear and categorical about it. He said two things. Number one, the 35 Act Federation is the worst federation that can ever be created. But then he said, that is the best possible or practical way to have federation today in India. So at least we should have something. It's better to have something than nothing at all. So with this, we have to understand that the concept, let's go to the again concept thing. And here, the concept is that 1935 Act intended federation for colonial perspective. And when we read Federation in Evolution of Constitution, and if we don't do this, then just reading few descriptive provisions of 1935 Act will not serve the purpose, and it is like reading in silos, because we know 35 Act also comes in modern history, you know. Here it is linking with federalism. That's what making is polity. So it is a colonial perspective. That's what the primary objective was. Why? I told you. That's what we will write in analysis part. Last paragraph conclusion. Number one, prevent Congress. To give undue weightage to states. And by doing so, somehow accommodating Jinnah. So 1935 Act was actually nominally federal, and you know very well that since the states, princely states, could never join the proposed federation, and therefore 1935 Act Federation never came into existence until the Constituent Assembly of India decided to have a federal constitution. And the government of India continued to run as per the Government of India Act 1921, means Montagu-Chelmsford reformed. Montagu-Chelmsford reform. And so 1935 never came, federal provisions actually never came into existence. So now when we go into, let's take the basic question again after discussion. And here is, did the Government of India Act lay down federal constitution? Our answer is yes, nominally, no, substantially. And this is how you have to increase. And when you discuss this, you can write, see, the current constitution is a federal constitution of India, and there are so many provisions in our federal structure today which was not the part of 1935 Act, like residuary powers, like the autonomy of the houses, you know, like the Supreme Court's position. So it is not. So this is what the discussion which we have done. So when we started this video, we understood that the mains concept mapping approach to mains. So when we are trying to understand the mains approach, we have to come to the conclusion that whenever we read any particular topic or the question in the syllabus, we have to locate syllabus, the concept, and the possible questions that may be raised from there. And therefore, when we understand polity in a thorough manner, in a proper manner, with someone who is having a real interest in talking to you or disseminate the knowledge, the information with all of you, that's how your concept, clarity will be totally good, you know. So what are the possible questions from the particular thing which we have took? Other possible question? Tremendous amount of questions we can generate from here. Alternate questions if you see. Did the Government of India Act 1935? So from the Government of India Act 1935 itself, we can ask certain other questions as well. In modern history also, it goes directly. In polity also, about the federal court, which never came into existence, and ultimately the Supreme Court is also our federal court because of original jurisdiction thing, Article 131, right? What was the diarchy and all kind of things. How far the Government of India Act is the biggest British legacy in the Indian Constitution. This is one of the foremost question, more important than this question, I think. Now, the second alternate questions you can go from a federal constitution, because federalism is a big topic, and how Indian federalism works in practice, in theory. What are the various other debates which are going on today between the center-state relations between the states related to a competitive federalism led by Niti Aayog, if it is set to one topic. So this is itself huge. So when we understand the concept, this is descriptive, historical, but we try to understand it in such a manner that the modern concept of federalism and nature of Indian federal constitution is also understood, linking with the topic of the syllabus, evolution of the constitution. So roughly I can say that it cannot be done alone at home, you know. So you need some discussion on this, and this is exactly what is the purpose of our GS classes here in GS Score, that when we meet, we talk. We empower you with the conceptual clarity, you know, and this is the purpose of and this is how we should be doing PYQs and test series wherever we are doing, you know. So friends, with this approach, I believe that we have got certain ideas and approach how to write mains and solve PYQs, go for test series, and how to link syllabus with the concept, and concept with the general framework of multiple questions that may be asked from the particular concept, right? Thank you very much.